What's going on, everybody? I'm Jerry, and Monday Night Football just ended, Raiders Lions, and that means it's time for my Week 8 takeaways. I'm going to be going over my biggest takeaways from every single game this weekend, all of them Thursday through Monday. So let's just get right into it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into this video. Starting off, we had the Buccaneers Bills. I was very close on my score prediction. If you watch my picks videos, I predicted 21-27 Bills over Buccaneers, which is a 6 point spread, and Bills winning, Buccaneers covering. So pretty spot on there. Baker Mayfield was just very inaccurate. I was targeting Mike Evans. There was a couple passes that were just off, not even catchable, which with a big target like him, you can't miss those throws. Buccaneers had kind of their strong suit has been the defense, and missing Vita Vea definitely hurt them. The Bills actually did run the ball pretty well for one of the first times. James Cook with a decent yards per carry, as well as Josh Allen running the ball fairly well despite being injured partway through the game. So ended up being a close game, a lot closer than I thought. I put there Buccaneers need more run game. I think if you have a stronger run game, I mean, it was a Hail Mary game at the end. Buccaneers were throwing it up. So if you just have a little bit stronger run game, maybe you get two more field goals out of it, or a field goal turns into a touchdown or something. The Bills went up early. They just held off the Bucks and spread the ball around well too. I put it was still too close because I really don't think the Buccaneers are that good of a football team, and especially with Vita Vea, that's probably one of their biggest pieces on defense. Obviously, there's like Levante David, and I'm sure you could name some other people there too. But having Vita Vea out and still be this close of a game, Bills defense has been struggling, so I can kind of understand it. But Bills spread the ball around well, ended up having a good game, getting the dub. Bills still kind of slipping off a little bit, but we'll see what happens in weeks to come. Next, we have Patriots Dolphins. I thought this one was going to be more of a blowout, even though Patriots coming off a win. I think it was just because I wasn't confident in the Patriots offense that they were going to be able to put up like 24 points. I actually predicted the 31 points exactly correct, and then I had the Patriots scoring 17, I believe, so fairly close on this one too. But the defense was really the only positive. The offense was a mess. The scoring from the offense was really because the defense kind of set them up well in certain situations. But it was still the Waddle and Hill show. So many. The yards after catch are unbelievable for them, and just the speed on the field is unmatched. So Patriots couldn't keep up. Mostert had a slow day for the first time, or it seems like the first time. So Patriots were able to kind of shut him down. The offense is just a mess. I don't think Mac Jones is it. He had the blatant interception to Jalen Ramsey, who wanted to take it back to the house, wasn't able to. But there's just so many problems with that offense. I don't know why at this point you don't say, hey, maybe we put in the backup and see what he can do. Whether they put in Zappy, I don't know if I think they'd have to elevate Cunningham. I think he's back on the practice squad now, but Dolphins end up getting the win again, closer than I thought it would be. But Patriots still have a lot of problems over there. Dolphins win 31-24. Next we have Jets Giants. This one was really close too. Just an absolute punt fest. The Jets were down the entire game, and they have the clutch drive to come back. The Giants were just riddled with injuries. Tyrod Taylor gets injured. Daniel Jones obviously has already been injured. I believe it was Tommy DeVito was the one that came in, and he didn't even look like he could throw the ball across the line of scrimmage. A lot of dink and dunk, little screen plays, was not working. Saquon Barkley led the league in touches this week with obvious reasons. It just seemed like they were meant to lose, though, the Giants. As silly as that sounds with how close it was and how the Jets had to come back, they just weren't in a position. And the fact that the Jets struggled this much to get the win is pretty sad because, the Giants go on to their third string quarterback and their defense was somehow holding the Jets. Kevon Thibodeau has a phenomenal game. 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. Great game from him. and somehow the Jets end up making it work. They have the big drive at the end to get the game tying field goal. And I put in my notes, Tommy did check down, because he was just, it seemed like he would snap the ball, look at maybe one read, and then dish the ball off to somebody in the flat. So good game for the Jets getting the win. Not really a good game for either team. I don't think there's really many positive takeaways from either game, except the Jets get a win and one win closer to potentially making the playoffs, because I know they probably want to make the playoffs with the hope that Rodgers can come back. Next game we have Jaguars-Steelers. This one kind of went as expected too. You kind of expect Steelers offense just hasn't been good. Jaguars defense has been very good. Jaguars offense has been competent. It hasn't been as amazing. Like, I look at Trevor Lawrence as one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and I honestly kind of feel like he's like maybe 10 right now. If we're going to put top 10, he's played pretty good, but there's been some careless mistakes, and I feel like you probably should have beat the Steelers by more. I guess it's 10, and they were only a 2.5-point favorite in this game, but I don't know. With how much of a mess the Steelers have been, I don't know. I guess I expected more. I have the Jaguars ranked pretty high in my power rankings if you watch those videos. So defense shines again. Etienne gets 24 carries. It was just an average game all around for the Jaguars, in my opinion. You're just playing against an average Steelers team that can't run the ball. Pickett goes down, and Mitch could not do enough. Money Mitch had a nice little pass to Pickens, but Pickens only got one reception. And to me, he's their best receiver. You could make the argument for Deontay Johnson, but I just like what I see out of Pickens more. I think he's a little more like sketchy, I guess, or a little more kind of ballsy, like kind of a more of a take a chance guy, but he's definitely going to be, or I guess boom or bust is probably a good way to describe him, but I just feel like Pickens makes plays, and I feel like you got to get him the ball more. So Mitch throws a couple bad interceptions. Steelers end up losing this one. Jaguars win 20-10. Next we have the Saints-Colts. Rashid Shaheed went off in this game. He had 3 receptions for like 153 yards, I want to say, and 1 touchdown, and his longest was 58. So all those receptions were right around 50 yards. I mean, it was just bomb the ball up to him, and he was beating coverages. So it's cool to see that out of the former just special teams guy. Carr, I put he did enough because I put notes. He had a couple passes that were just very inaccurate. Kamara had some nice runs, and he was playing well. And then I put Taysom Hill, the red zone monster, because it feels like you can just put him in. And a lot of credit to the Saints offensive line for the blocking too. But the way that when he does those quarterback draws and he's just able to find the hole or sweep around the outside and outrun people, it's kind of mind-boggling to me, because I don't, like, obviously most quarterbacks can't do that. I mean, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson would probably be your outliers there. But even like putting in a running back, which he ends up kind of being, putting him like a running back there, I just feel like that wouldn't work very well when executed. And with Taysom Hill, he's probably running with it. Obviously, there's that threat of the pass, so you have to worry about that too. But Taysom Hill, that was great. Defense kind of blew it for the Colts. You just can't allow all those bombs to Shaheed. Again, red zone defense was horrible because Taysom Hill, Kamara were looking really good there. The only really positive for the Colts in this game was their run game. Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor had phenomenal run games, and Minshew made some good plays. Minshew had this like magic where he like spun out of a bunch of guys and just bombed it, and it was a touchdown. So you get some plays like that, and I put Minshew as good enough because the defense plays better. You scored 27 points, so to me that should be enough to win games, especially against a Saints offense that really hasn't been amazing, where it's kind of been their defense that shines. So Colts end up losing. Saints win 38-27. Big game for the Saints. Big game kind of put them back up. Had some struggles earlier on. Vikings-Packers, big, tough situation for the Vikings with Kirk Cousins. Kind of makes, in my opinion, makes their decision a little bit easier. There was a lot of hope in Minnesota that they just come off beating the 49ers, then they're going to come in and beat the Packers at home, and and they do that, but then you lose Kirk, so now it seems like a lot of people are kind of out on them for the rest of the season, and with Kirk having a contract year, it doesn't really seem like it would make sense to keep him around. So might make their decision a little bit easier on what they want to do, unless they believe Kirk can be the one moving forward. But I put Addison's the real deal. Jordan Addison's been making huge plays and looking like a rookie of the year candidate, probably right next to Puka Nacua, and with C.J. Stroud kind of falling off, he might have elevated himself into that like top 3 conversation for rookie of the year. Offense seems to be a lot more creative without Justin Jefferson. I think you're seeing Kevin O'Connell call some better plays just to change it up, knowing that you have a security blanket like Justin Jefferson. It seems like they just kind of would fall back on that, and the creativity would lack sometimes, and I think be part of the reason why they lose some games. So it's nice to see the creativity coming out and good play calling from Kevin O'Connell. So you like to see that. Defense has played great under Brian Flores. They're blitzing at a significantly higher rate than everybody else, but it's just working, and they're putting the pressure on. Another interesting talk with the trade deadline being coming up here. A lot of talk about Danielle Hunter. I don't know if it would be worth it at this point. They might want to try to pay him. I don't know how that's all going to work out. But Packers have the worst offense ever, I've ever seen. 67 total yards at half. I guess maybe it's not the worst. I think the Bears had a really bad game. Well, the Bears had their, I'll never forget, Justin Fields' first game, 2021 against the Browns week 3, when they had 1 net passing yard by the end of the game. But that was by the end of the game too. But horrible offense, probably the worst this year for first half by the Packers. Just could not get anything going. The Packers on defense struggled. They got a field goal block, but that was really the only plus side. They were just kind of getting sliced and diced by Jordan Addison. Alexander Mattison, not an amazing game, but the running game in general, Cam Akers gets a first rushing touchdown. That's a positive there for the Vikings. But I put as Jordan Love the problem, because it seems like the first 2 or 3 weeks the Packers played really good football, and then it's just fallen off from there, and the quarterback runs the offense. So with how much they've been struggling on offense, you kind of start to ask the question, is it LaFleur? Is it Love? So we're going to have to see what happens. They're not getting Aaron Jones involved like they should, in my opinion. So that's a big part of it too. But anyway, good game for the Vikings. Heartbreaker that they're going to lose Kirk Cousins. Not really sure how they're going to proceed moving forward this year, but something to look forward to. And the Packers, doesn't really seem like we're going to know. Are they going to go tank mode for a quarterback? So a lot of interesting stuff that we learned in this game. Good game for the Vikings. Texans lose to the Panthers. Panthers getting their first win. I'll just go through this one real quick. The Texans had a lot of penalties. Stroud struggled, and I'm lost, because earlier on in the season, Stroud was doing really good and phenomenal. These last 2 weeks have not been very good, and the penalties are a big problem. D'Amico Ryans seemed like a good coach and a good defensive coach, but the penalties on offense and defense just hurt the team. So that really hurt him. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of this game because there really wasn't a lot going on. Both teams did not run the ball well, too, is another thing. I keep track of that. And I just threw on there Eddie Pinheiro saves the day. He misses an extra point, causing them potentially to lose, but then ends up getting the game-winning field goal, which he had to kick multiple times, which brought him an interesting thought. I don't know if anybody watched that game, but there was an offsides penalty that they called, and he made it, and because of I don't remember the reason, but because of some reason, they ended up replaying it. And so it was like half the distance to the goal, and then they had to re-kick the field goal, which I thought was crazy. Like, are they really going to make the Panthers lose this way by, much closer field goal? And they did this twice. There was 2 times that it had to be re-kicked, and it wasn't because of icing, because of timeouts. It was because of penalties. So I don't know if there's going to be a rule change of some sort. That didn't seem to make sense, even though it ended up being a 23-yard field goal that he made. What if some fluke happens and the kicker or the holder puts the laces the wrong way and he misses. Like that would have been a huge heartbreak and might have even been what we needed because that probably would result in a rule change immediately. But because he ends up making it, I don't think anybody really cares about it and we just kind of move on. But Panthers end up getting their first win, winning 15-13 over the Texans, who have been struggling recently, although having a good start. Next we had the Titans, and Will Levis just goes off. He's just bombing it to DeAndre Hopkins. Derrick Henry's getting in there. The offense just looked better all around, and the best game for them this season, especially with how well the defense was playing early on. I don't think the defense played amazing, especially because you end up going up against Heineke after Ritter, whether I know he went into concussion protocol, but then they didn't put him back in. I don't know if it was a benching situation or a safety situation. Never really heard clarification on that, but ends up resulting in probably better fight. I really liked Heineke's performance, and I think moving forward, if you're not going to trade for a quarterback or try to sign like Carson Wentz or I guess whatever you would do, I think you probably got to leave Heineke in there. It sounds like they're going to go back to Ritter, but Heineke, I love Taylor Heineke. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think on a team like the Falcons, where if they get the run game going, they have a couple receiving weapons, and the defense had been playing good until this game. I think you could have a little bit of a recipe for success there on for the Falcons. And I just put very inconsistent because it seems like some weeks they can just go off and get a win, and then other weeks like they're losing to the Titans. Granted, it could be maybe you don't know how to play against Levis. Maybe you're not expecting him to be airing it out like he was in his first career game. But he gets 4 touchdowns and just has a great game. So awesome to see Levis doing that. I don't know what's going to happen for the Falcons. Again, their defense kind of got exposed. I don't think they planned for Levis. So we'll see if Levis can continue to do that moving forward. I picked the Falcons for this game just because of the struggles in Tennessee. But Levis has a great first game. Titans end up winning 28-23. Next we had Rams-Cowboys. I'll go through this one real quick. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua just got locked down. I think they combined for like 9 or 10 catches, which normally they each almost have 10 catches. So they kind of got locked up. Cooper Kupp was pretty much irrelevant in the game, and Puka Nacua still only had like 4 or 5 receptions. Maybe it was 6, but not a lot of yards. Stafford goes down, and Brett Ripien comes in. That doesn't help any. But the Rams just made too many mistakes. There's the safety. There's the field goal block. I can't even remember them all. Kevontae Turpin had a huge return on one of this on the safety punt. So there's that too, and they just got down. It was like 33-3 or whatever at half, and there was just no chance for the Rams to come back. And then the Cowboys' defense is unreal. CeeDee Lamb goes off, best receiver this week. I would say I think it was 2 touchdowns, like 160 yards or something like that. I believe it'll be in the stats later. I always put the weekly leaders, so we'll see that in the stats. But Cowboys just made it look easy as their defense continues to do. I still don't believe that their offense is great. You could look at the stats for this game and go, oh, well, they sure look great to me. But I just think they're being well set up by the defense. And we've seen multiple times this year where even if the defense just looks average, the Cowboys can lose games. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Oh, and Deron Bland gets another pick 6. Cool to see in this game. But yeah, Cowboys defense, I just forgot to mention that one and make sure I threw that in there. Cowboys dominate, winning 43-20. So big game for them over the Rams, who have looked good as of recently. Eagles-Commanders. Now, this was a game, I'm going to start over there on the Commanders. Howell was slinging it this game. Howell led the league in attempts, completions, and passing yards. Only had the 1 interception. Had a big pass at the end, diving grab by Jahan Dotson. So that was kind of cool to see. Commanders stop a tush push and force a fumble, which was unheard of. Then the Eagles come out with their trickery later and run a counter off of it, which was huge. So I don't know how. I don't know how you're going to stop it with the Eagles, especially. I mean, obviously the Commanders do it the one time, but then when they can just follow up with a counter, it's just that's going to be too tough to stop. And I put the defense couldn't do it because the Eagles' offense was really what dominated. And the Eagles' defense has been struggling this year, but the Commanders' defense has also been struggling this year for having some pretty talented players over there. Obviously, looking to trade a defensive lineman, but their defense has been struggling this year and struggled too much in this game because at the end of the day, the Commanders still put up 31 points. The Eagles just ended up putting up 38. But yeah, Sam Howell, he started off like 7 for 7, I heard, during the game. And he played a very good game. He had the one interception. But other than that, he was slinging it out there. The Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown connection seems unstoppable. The first A.J. Brown, first receiver with 6 consecutive games of 125 receiving yards, which is nuts. DeAndre Swift has one of his first slow games this year when he's played. Commanders did shut him down pretty well, but it didn't really matter because of how well the rest of the offense played. And I put the defense needs to be better because shouldn't be allowing 31 points by the Commanders. It's just, I don't know. The Eagles last year were looked at as one of the better defenses, if not like one of the best defenses in the league. And I just felt like there wasn't enough changes to where they should have gotten worse. You know, you saw a lot of upside rookies come in, and sure, they've been dealing with injuries in the secondary, but it's just not a great game for the defense. Eagles, regardless, end up winning 38-31 over the Commanders. Next, we have Browns-Seahawks. I almost predicted this one exactly, too, and I actually lost on the spread there, just barely. I predicted 24-21. Seahawks beating the Browns. So another really close one. My predictions, I've been honing them in. So happy for that. Not happy I missed on this pick, but that's okay. It was a 3.5 point spread, and it was very close. But anywho, I said the luck had to run out eventually just because PJ Walker was only going to win so many games, and it was so close too. Like they actually could have won it. They could have done it again. Just couldn't hold off the Seahawks. I put the Browns led most of this game. They were up pretty much the whole time until the end when JSN gets that touchdown with 38 seconds left. But huge interception too off Jamal Adams got pressure on the play, and then huge interception, which was kind of the turning point at the end, which set up the JSN touchdown. But basically, the Seahawks were just able to hang in there the whole time. Geno Smith is still making some mistakes. He had one play where he was completely wrapped up by like a couple different defenders, and then he just breaks out, bombs it to Tyler Lockett for a touchdown. So good play by him there. Again, the game was too close for me. The Browns have been good this year, but I don't think that the Browns with PJ Walker should be this close in games. And then the final comment's just Kenneth Walker's a tank because he runs the ball so hard. It reminds me of like those 80s and even 90s, like maybe even early 2000s running backs that just put their head down and he is just a bull. And so I love to see that. Love to see a nice power back out there. But Seahawks end up taking down the Browns 24-20. Very close on that spread there. Ravens. I don't have the right score in here. So that's great. This was my score prediction. Nice going, Jerry. Final score, let me just look that up because I'm a fool real quick. It was 31-24. So shame on me. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 31-24. Shame on me for not changing that. I put Justin Tucker can miss. As you can see, my prediction was off. Cardinals scored significantly more than expected. Ravens' score was close, but yeah, Justin Tucker misses a field goal, which was a fairly easy field goal. Gus Bus with 2 S's just went off. He had 3 touchdowns, ran the ball really hard as well, like I was kind of talking about with Kenneth Walker. Just he did great there. And I expect more from Lamar Jackson because he only threw for like 150 yards this game, and you're going up against the Cardinals. I still don't think the Cardinals are a very good team. So obviously, Ravens go out and win it. Again, 31-24, not 34-10. That is my prediction. But Dobbs struggled. Sounds like he's benched. Clayton Tune's going to come in, or Kyler Murray's going to come back. Trey McBride had a great day. He had like 10 receptions, almost 100 yards and a touchdown. It's a good day for him. But the rest of the receivers didn't really do anything. Marquise Brown had like 3 receptions, so not a great game. And again, I put closer than expected because they only lost by a touchdown to a Ravens team who's just been dominating other teams. And like Dobbs, he had the two horrible interceptions. One was a really bad underthrow. The other one just sailed over as an overthrow. And with the 2 interceptions, you feel like you'd capitalize. Even if they just didn't have one of those, they score a touchdown on one of those drives. It's a tie game. So crazy that that's how it works. But Ravens end up squeaking by in this one. Again, 31-24. My bad. I'll fix it next time. Did I do it again? Okay. Well, what did I do here? Okay, so there was just 2 games that I decided to not change the score. Chiefs get smacked in this game. Mahomes flu game, 24-9. Broncos end up winning. Shame on me. I was trying to rush this out because I do want to make a trade video. So you can come at me in the comments about it. But scores wrong on this one. Broncos won 24-9. Mahomes had the flu game. Defense played horrible too. Weren't able to stop a Broncos team who's just, I mean, they've been okay. They've been better than last year at least. But let's just be honest, they kind of stunk. And I put you have nothing to worry about because I think this solely was on Mahomes just being off. It seems like it set off the vibe of the whole game. And I don't think the Chiefs are out by any means. It was a close game. Even then in the first game where they played, I believe it was 19-8, the Chiefs won. So I wouldn't worry about it. Broncos took advantage of the situation, capitalized on all the mistakes. 5 turnovers for the Chiefs in this game, 5. And they still only won. Broncos still only won 24-9. I mean, it's a 15-point swing as a 2-possession game off of 5 turnovers. But they just took the lead, never let up. Mahomes had a bad interception. Jerry Jeudy had some really nice plays too. Javonte Williams was finally running harder, and he was playing well. But Denver just couldn't stop forcing turnovers. And it ends up with the Broncos winning again 24-9. I'm sorry. Next, we have one that I remembered to change. The Bengals 31, 49ers 17. I was right about the spread here, not right about the winner. I thought the 49ers were going to win and the Bengals were just going to cover the 3.5. They end up getting the dub. Joe Cool was slinging it to Jamar Chase. Both of them had great games. Nice to see that connection back at least a couple weeks in a row. And then the Bengals were able to get good pressure on Purdy all game. I think big part of that is having Trent Williams out. That definitely hurt. But the Bengals just were able to attack the weaknesses. They recognized, you got Debo out, you got Trent Williams out, and they took advantage of it. I put the 49ers need to be healthy because Brock Purdy doesn't even look the same. He threw for 300 yards, but he had 2 bad interceptions. And again, he was getting pressured really bad. Trent Williams is going to help that. They do a lot of creative stuff with Trent Williams as far as they put him in motion. And he's still the best tackle in the league. So missing him really hurts. Purdy makes a couple big mistakes, and I put their Purdy big mistakes because the interceptions are kind of part of the reason they lost this game. And I also put the defense didn't help because when you let up 31 points, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for your offense dealing with injuries to get in and win. The 49ers weren't really getting pressure like we normally see, and Joe Mixon had a great day running the ball, which we haven't seen. That's one thing I was happy to see is I've been asking this whole year for them to give Joe Mixon more touches, and he got a season high in touches this week. And did run the ball efficiently too, because that's the other thing you have to factor in is Joe Mixon ran the ball. He'd gotten like 13 carries or whatever in a few games. Didn't average very high and didn't really take advantage of those opportunities. So he got more opportunity and took care of them. Bengals end up winning 31-17. and I actually changed the score. So nice job, Jerry. Next, we have the Bears-Chargers. I was very wrong about this one. I thought they were going to be able to cover the very large, originally 8.5. Right before the game ends up switching to 9.5 point spread. I thought there was no problem that they're going to be able to cover that. And I think there's a lot of things. I put Bagent not bad. Now, you can look at it and you can go, there was probably like at least 3 plays that could have been interceptions, because to me, there was about 3. There was the one that was a really bad interception, looked like miscommunication. There was another one that was thrown to Mooney. It was a tight window throw, and it looked like he had it, and it just got ripped away. Or he didn't have it, and it was just kind of between the two. Defense ends up with it. And then there was another one that he threw like right to a defender, and it got dropped. So it could have been 3 interceptions there, but there was a bomb to Mooney, first play of the game, and Mooney catches it, falls down, nobody touches him. He gets up and runs with it, looks back, and then sounds like a whistle was blown to him. So he stops running. Derwin James swings him out of bounds. Play could have been a touchdown, and the drive, in my opinion, at least would have ended in a field goal, because even if Derwin James ran him down, you're likely still getting a field goal out of that. Changes the whole pace of the game, especially with, the couple plays after that, they just didn't get any yards, and then even the whole next drive, they didn't really do anything. But then you also have the Velus Jones Jr. Touchdown drop. Pretty good pass, maybe a little underthrown, but at least in a good spot where he could catch it. If it was overthrown, there would be no chance. Velus Jones falls down, and it just bounces off of his chest, and it was an easy touchdown catch, and he just drops it. And a couple other, plays that I don't think are necessarily Bagent's fault. So that's why I still believe that, considering against what's been a struggling Chargers team, but what we know can be a good Chargers team, for Bagent to play like he did in the second game, I still believe in him, and I still believe that he could be the guy moving forward, just because although Fields' highs might be higher, I feel like Bagent's lows aren't as low as Fields. So the defense is still trash, though, at the end of the day. That's just, the defense has been playing horrible. And it's not even really all the defense. I think the cornerback room is really good. We assume that the linebackers are going to be good because of how the players have had success, whether it be Edwards and Edmonds in different schemes and in different on different teams. Jack Sanborn looked good last year. You'd assume he's good. It's really the defensive line just sucks. They don't get any pressure, and it makes it very, very difficult for them to have any success. So I put fire the whole staff. I think it would be probably everybody but Poles, because he didn't really have any say in who the coaches were. Obviously, at this point, he's made the decision to keep them. But Matt Eberflus, Luke Getsy, I don't think they'll be gone mid-season. But personally, if I was a GM, I would probably do that. But I do think they're going to be fired by the end of the season. Chargers dink and dunk their way to victory. No passes downfield, just were kind of able to take advantage of the Bears' shitty defense. They had a good defensive scheme for once. Planning for Bagent, I think they took some pages out of the Vikings book when the Vikings dominated the Bears as far as defensively with the high blitz rate, put pressure on the quarterback, and I think that worked for them very well. But the run game struggled a lot. What's his name? Eckler was held to like 1.9 yards a carry. So ends up being a good game for the Chargers passing wise, not so much rushing wise. Bears played, the defense was horrible. There was a lot of penalties, a lot of bad penalties too. Poor timed penalties. Lucas Patrick, I remember, had 2 penalties in a row, like holding and false start or something. Like it was back to back, and you just can't have that. So need not to do that. Chargers end up dominating the Bears 30-13. And then the final game of the week, the game that just happened, Raiders Lions. I thought this game was closer than it should have been too. The Raiders were able to kind of turn the ball, or take the ball away rather, from the Lions more than I thought. Goff had a bad interception. Jimmy G was great at throwing. He threw a great interception. Uh, and Jimmy G, he just kind of stinks to me. I thought that maybe a new home would be good for him, and that is not the case whatsoever. It's clear that he needs a team like the 49ers with a bunch of weapons, which you'd say, oh, the Raiders have Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, one of the best receivers, one of the best running backs. And it's not enough. Pass game was horrible. They had like 80 yards or something. And the defense, they put bend but don't break because the Lions didn't score a touchdown until late in the second quarter. And the Raiders were just holding them to field goals. But I put Gibbs fills in nice, which I changed that because at the beginning of the game, Gibbs, after like 8 or 9 carries, he was only averaging like 2.5, 3 yards a carry. But by the end of the game, man, did he show up. He had a bunch of big runs, phenomenal. Like he just kept turning his feet. He had like a mini beast mode run that only went for 24 yards, but he just would not stop breaking tackles. But yeah, the Lions fumbled in the red zone. There was the Goff interception. Max Crosby just ripped it away from Craig Reynolds in the red zone. It was like on the 5-yard line. But yeah, at the beginning of the game, wasn't great for either team, to be honest. And then Gibbs kind of starts getting going. Laporta gets a nice touchdown. I put he is a guy because every week he's just one of the best tight ends. Like he's a rookie and he's looking like he could be one of the best in the league, like top 5 potentially in the league. I don't think that's out of the question, especially with the sample size that we have now. So, but I also put they ran the ball to victory because Craig Reynolds ran the ball pretty well, and so did Jahmyr Gibbs, even though the start was tough. I haven't mentioned it yet, but Josh Jacobs just carried the offense, although he didn't have an amazing game either. It was just the passing game was so not there that Josh Jacobs kind of had to for them to even be in this game. And at the end of the day, only a 12-point game, and the Raiders had opportunities to score. So this could have been a lot closer game than you would have anticipated. But the Lions end up taking it away 26-14. And then we have the Week 8 leaders. As I mentioned before, Sam Howell just kind of dominated the passing department other than the passer rating. His opponent, who just basically had the same stats, just didn't throw an interception, was Jalen Hurts, 135.8. Saquon gets 36 touches, which is wild. 36 touches, carries. Mainly because you have Tommy DeVito, DeVito come in at quarterback, and it seems like they recognize that they could not pass the ball anymore. Jahmyr Gibbs ends up taking away the rushing title towards the end there, 152. CeeDee Lamb takes down the receptions and receiving yards. A couple people for tackles. Kayvon Thibodeau, great week, three sacks and 3 TFLs. Most offensive yards was a close one. The Lions almost won both of these here. They had like 489 or something. Saints end up edging them out with 511. Lions hold the Raiders to 157 total yards, which is nuts. That's like Broncos type numbers. So good on the Lions there. Broncos get the 5 takeaways on the Chiefs. A couple fun facts. We have there's never been a final score in NFL history. Every year the NFL 43-20 before Cowboys-Rams game changes that. Only 3 quarterbacks have thrown 4 touchdowns in their first career game. And those are Fran Tarkenton, Marcus Mariota, and Will Levis. And then Jets' Bryce Huff has a 30.5% pressure rate. The next highest is 21.5, which is massive. That's crazy. And I don't feel like I've heard Bryce Huff's name a lot that year, but that is a very important stat. Putting pressure on the quarterback is important. And the second week of my new little segment that I have, the I'm Jerry Player of the Week, goes to Jahmyr Gibbs. Stats kind of speak for themselves. As I choked to death, I need some water. 26 carries, 152 yards, 5.8 per carry. On 26 carries is unbelievable. Like, if he had like 10 or 12 carries for 5.8, that would be still impressive. Achane and Breece Hall had some games like that where it was like 9 or 10 yards per carry, but it's on like 8 or 9 carries. He had 26, averaging averaging 5.8. 5 receptions, 37 receiving yards, and a touchdown. There's just no other choice other than Jahmyr Gibbs for the player of the week. The I'm Jerry player of the week for week 8. So that is going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. Comment down below if there's anything that I missed from the games or anything important, or if there's anything that you'd like me to add or remove from this video. I know some people, when they do their biggest takeaways, they just pick certain games, which I would be willing to do. That would result in a shorter video. But I figured if you have this and you want to skip around to the game that you want to see, obviously you're welcome to do that. So I figured if I include all of them, maybe there's a larger target audience. So yeah, comment down below any tips or improvements. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.